Hi, I'm Pastor Mike Salomon from Harvest Christian Fellowship. Unless you live in a different country, you'll notice that just this week, the President of the United States had placed an executive order in reference to the gun control laws and things that are happening. And there's been a lot of talk on radio and television, and how should Christians look at things like that? Well, we know that the world is in some form of epidemic. There is some form of turbulence that we are experiencing in our society. We are seeing a perversion of the truth. We are seeing a lot of things that are happening in our schools, in our nation, a lot of things that is really putting to question to mind, are we raising our society in the right direction, as we would say? And I would use that like we would use a child. We would take a kid and teach a kid, do not steal, do not kill, do not hurt. Are we raising this? Are we teaching our society the right way? And as the generation grows and it grows, here we are in a no bully society, but yet what are we seeing? We're seeing more and more bullying. And the reason is because you can't change a society without first of all changing the heart, the foundation. And the President of the United States came out with a law, a law, an executive order. An executive order pretty much says things like, number one, background checks. Everyone must have a background check. How should you, if you're a Christian, look at those things? Let me just say this. I don't want a criminal to come to a store and buy a gun unless they pass the background check. A person who wants to buy a gun, no matter where they're at, whether it's online, whether it's a gun show, whether I've even had this debate one-on-one. If I had a gun, I'm selling it, or someone had a gun and they were selling it, if they want to sell their gun, they have to give a background check for the person who's buying the gun. This is important. And a lot of people are up in arms about those, no pun intended. They say things like, well, that's an infringement of the Second Amendment, and that's et cetera, and all these things about rights. But the question is it really, or is it protecting our society in the sense that we have licensing for everything? If you want to get married, you need a license. If you want to drive a car, you need a license. If you want to fly a plane, you need a license. If you want to buy a gun, you need a license. And the reason why is because we want to make sure that the person who's buying it is safe. Now I know what you may be thinking, and a lot of people may be thinking, well, Pastor, I don't think that's going to stop society. I mean, all these shootings, Sandy Hook, all these shootings, whether conspiracy or however you may look at it, these were never, gun control, the background check would have not stopped all these. All right, let us assume the president was correct. There's about 30,000 killings in the United States, 30,000 every year. Could it have stopped one? Could have stopped one. And if a background check would stop one from a person getting murdered or getting killed, I'm for it. A lot of people say, well, Obama's a hypocrite because he's worried about one death, but here he is advocating murder by abortion and all these things. Maybe this might be true, but nonetheless, for him to try to stop one, not that he cares or whatever, try to stop one is one in the right direction. As a Christian and as a Christian pastor, I can say that every person who wants to buy a gun should pass a background check. Open it up, so anyone can buy a gun, anyone. And a felon who is violent, who has a violent background through violence, whatever it may be, domestic violence, aggravated assault violence, violent. owns a gun, and he's probably all right. But if he gets angry and something happens that triggers the gun being there, the convenience of a gun will lead to a shootout. And then what do you got? You got high noon, two people ready in the cowboy time for high noon shooting. That's not what we want. If a person doesn't have a gun and they don't own a gun because they can't pass a background check, well, let's say they get angry. Now they have to stop, they have to go out and find a gun, or then they have to purchase it, however it may be. Or some people say, well, criminals steal their guns. They have to steal a gun. Either way, it is an inconvenience. They have to stop what they're doing and go and try to find something, versus being easy to walk into a store, say, I want that, give that to me, here's money, thank you very much, bam, 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 bam. The way I see it is, Obama did the right thing by saying everyone needs a license. He did the right thing. Everyone needs a license. What I think happened that I don't agree with is the way he went around to it, and that is by putting an executive order. Maybe it had to happen because so many other people were blocking what he was doing. But there's a couple other things that scare me about that. Number one, he added 200 extra ATF agents in there. Why? That doesn't make sense. It seems like the police state is being raised. So underlining with the background check, he also kind of snuck in a few things. $500 million in for mental illness. Kind of threw in that. Why? What does that have to do with gun control? $500 million. It seems like there was some kind of underlining. It's like, oh, okay, we'll give you a background check. I'm going to give that. I'm going to put it. And then at the same time, I'm going to sneak in a little agenda. If our government really wants to change society, if it really wants to change society, what it needs to do, it needs to reach in, and then it needs to change the heart of the world. It needs to come out. The heart of this world, the heart of the world needs to be changed. And until the heart of the world can change, nothing's going to change. That's really what it is. And only one person can do that, Jesus. Thank you for watching. My name is Pastor Mike Salmon from Harvest Christian Fellowship. I hope this blesses you. God bless.